Słuchasz podcastu Angielski z Konradem. Jeśli chcesz popracować nad płynnością, nabrać odwagi do konwersacji, skorygować często popełniane błędy bądź poznać skuteczne metody nauki, ta audycja jest dla Ciebie. Remember, you're not at school, so chill out, kick back and enjoy yourself. Let's begin. Greetings! Welcome to another episode of Angielski z Konradem. I hope you are well, ready and willing to learn. Thank you for joining me today. Let's go through vocabulary items first, shall we? Cordless, cordless. Also, wireless, wireless. Cordless, wireless. Bezprzewodowy. Battery life, battery life. Czas pracy na baterii. Update, update. Aktualizacja. Freeze, freeze. Zawiesić się. Gizmo, gizmo. Ustrojstwo, gadżet. Some of you plan your holidays abroad, I gather. Chances are you will be visiting English-speaking countries. England, the USA, Australia. What's more, there are numerous places where English is a common foreign language, well spoken by locals. You won't get a better opportunity to polish your English than by travelling. The more you use the language, the better you get at it. It goes without saying. What's more, you are forced to communicate in a language other than your mother tongue. Confidence plays a huge part in your fluency. Come to think of it, it plays a huge part in any skill, really. How can you get more confident with English? There are ways to improve your confidence. One's more direct than others. Practicing with a partner, with a native speaker, someone who won't make you feel embarrassed when speaking a foreign language. There are also various aids, like pocket dictionaries or phrasebooks. Just having them close to you, knowing that they are at your disposal, that's a big confidence booster. That's not all, of course. After all, it's the year 2023. Surely there is a more sophisticated solution to your linguistic needs. Technology to the rescue! Technology is kind of a double-edged sword. On one hand, it makes our lives more miserable. How does technology make our lives more miserable? My biggest gripe is that we become so reliant on it that it becomes a dependency. To be dependent means to need help of someone or something in order to exist or to continue as before. Everyone's a walking encyclopedia nowadays. As long as we've got enough battery life and a stable internet connection. Cut the cord, and what are we left with? Check out the article in your notes to dive deeper into the topic. However, there's the other edge of this sword. It's not all that bad. There's a more positive side to technology. It can help us in areas which are our Achilles heel, our weak point, and do so instantly. Imagine a certain situation. Your family member has been living abroad for years, in England for instance. Despite your best efforts, you haven't been able to learn English well enough to speak it with confidence. The family member urgently needs your help. You've got a few weeks until your flight. Too little time to learn since you still have other commitments. What can you do? Well, a pocket translator can be your way out of this pickle. The device that I'm holding in my hands is made by the good people at Vasco. like Vasco da Gama, the traveller. My mum bought it for her trip abroad, but she ended up not using it that much since my sister speaks English on a native level. Apart from the device itself, she got herself an additional goodies pack, which includes an arrangement of cables, a wall socket for charging, a hefty power bank, and a set of wall adapters, everything encased inside a solid carrying case. All the extra stuff comes at an extra cost, of course. The device itself is quite small. It will easily fit your pocket, since it's no bigger than a chocolate bar, and it won't melt. These devices are also pretty costly. A new one is going to set you back shy of 1,300 zlotys. The translator comes in a variety of colors, so you can express yourself better, I guess. Vasco advertises its pocket translator as the best in the world. That is a very bold claim. Let's put it to the test. You've got two buttons in front. One dedicated to your mother tongue, the other for a foreign language. All you have to do is press the button and speak to the device. It will then translate your speech into the target language and read whatever you said out loud. For general common use language, even taboo, it gives you a precise translation. As long as you speak clearly, you're golden. Vasco Pocket Translator won't give you an accurate translation of Pythagorean theorem, so manage your expectations. The device can also translate text, thanks to the built-in camera. Take a photograph of the text you want to translate, and the device will do all the work for you. In theory, the camera is quite low resolution and it has no image stabilization, so you have to be very still. Hold your breath before taking a picture. Vasco recognizes writing surprisingly well. However, it has to be more or less legible to an untrained eye. Keep that in mind when you are translating doctor's prescription. You never know. What I like the most about Vasco is that you are not limited to English. The device has several languages built in, and you can download more, up to 70. It makes the device much more versatile. In order for it to work, the translator has to be connected to the internet. No worries, Vasco got you covered with free unlimited access. You can also connect it to your phone via Wi-Fi if need be. How's the battery life? I've been playing with it for a few hours and it hasn't dropped significantly. It's good for a solid day of use, I would say. It takes about 2 hours to fully charge from 0%. Let's answer the big question now. Is it worth your money? Does all the functionality justify the cost? After all, you could buy about 50 good pocket dictionaries for that price. Here's a list of reasons why you might consider investing in such a device. Reason number 1. You don't have the time or the desire to learn the language. Let's face it, learning a language is a tremendous undertaking. It's also hard work which requires time and money. Be honest with yourself. How much of the language can you realistically learn having short amount of time? If you were to travel to Portugal next week, for example, how much Portuguese can you master in a week? There's no crash course that fast. Reason number 2. You travel abroad a lot. The more time a year you spend abroad, the more justified such a purchase becomes. In case of my mum, a person who travels abroad once every decade, it's been a waste of money so far. My parents do, however, plan to travel across Europe in their camper van, so she may yet find herself using it more often. Reason number 3. You travel to different countries. When I left Poland to study philosophy in Italy, yes, philosophy was my major, I was shocked by how few locals spoke English. Well, I shouldn't be surprised. It's not an English-speaking country. Of course, I studied some basic Italian beforehand, and at the end of my stay I got quite proficient at it. I knew enough to run basic errands, generally. Vasco would have been a lifesaver in the early days of my studies. Not only then, but in my travels to other countries. What I would propose is to use maths to solve the problem of Vasco's usefulness. Nothing fancy, I promise. Take the price, then divide it by the amount of countries you are set on traveling to. So, for example, 1,300 zlotys divided by 10 countries becomes 130 zlotys. The more use you get out of it, the more affordable it becomes. Reason number 4. You need a confidence booster and/or backup. If you don't use your skills, you get less confident when the need arises. Some people just don't trust themselves or lack confidence to make a coherent sentence in a foreign language. I can understand that. Just knowing you have the pocket translator you can use in case of an emergency makes you a more self-confident speaker. It also saves you the embarrassment of browsing through paper dictionary, if you're a kind of a person embarrassed by such things. Before you decide to buy Vasco, consider one major issue. Not with the device itself. Let's say you travel to some exotic destination where the language is completely alien to you. Saudi Arabia, for instance. Imagine someone stole your bicycle. You want to report the theft to the authorities. You have to put complete faith in the translation, that the device won't leave you literally handless. Vasco does not come with health insurance, unfortunately. Despite all the breakthroughs made in translation technology, your brain remains your best translator. If you take your time to train it, you won't need any gizmos, like in the Matrix. Once you're ready, once you believe in yourself, you won't have to dodge bullets. You will stop them with your mind. Thank you for listening. I'll talk to you next time. Oh, that's right. I forgot about the revision. Remember those words I mentioned at the beginning of the podcast? I'm going to say them again and give you an example sentence for each one. You will hear each sentence twice. Be sure to check your podcast notes for translations. Let's begin. Cordless, cordless. Also wireless, wireless. Bezprzewodowy. George is saving money to buy a cordless vacuum cleaner. George is saving money to buy a cordless vacuum cleaner. Battery life, battery life. Czas pracy na baterii. The battery life on George's new vacuum cleaner is rated at 6 hours of vacuuming. The battery life on George's new vacuum cleaner is rated at 6 hours of vacuuming. Update, update. Aktualizacja. Fortunately, George doesn't have to install updates on his new vacuum cleaner. Fortunately, George doesn't have to install updates on his new vacuum cleaner. Freeze. Freeze. Zawiesić się. If the new vacuum cleaner freezes, all George has to do is unplug the battery and plug it back. If the new vacuum cleaner freezes, all George has to do is unplug the battery and plug it back. Gizmo. Gizmo. Ustrojstwo, gadżet. For George, his new vacuum cleaner is not just another cordless gizmo. For George, his new vacuum cleaner is not just another cordless gizmo. For George, his new vacuum cleaner is not just another cordless gizmo. Alright, that's it for today's episode. Be sure to follow me on Spotify. It really helps me reach more people with my content. Remember to subscribe to my newsletter to get notified of new episodes. If you have any questions or you just want to say hi, contact me at my email angielskiskonradem@gmail.com.